Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who has been placed on leave of absence, has handed over his electronic devices to the police as part of an ongoing probe. The devices include a state-issued laptop, a personal tablet, 2 unused old cell phones in his possession, and 1 active cell phone that he currently uses. Now, this takes place as Mchunu is currently embroiled in allegations of criminality, political interference, and corruption within the criminal justice system. And in a statement today, Mchunu has maintained that he has nothing to hide and welcomes any lawful investigation aimed at clarifying facts as well as upholding the integrity of public office. He adds that he remains fully confident that due processes will confirm that his actions have been ethical, lawful and consistent with his duties as a member of the executive. Professor Dirk Kotze, who's the Professor of Political Sciences at the University of South Africa, UNISA, joins us now to further discuss Minister Senzo Mchunu handing over those devices and some of today's testimony at the Madlanga Commission. Professor, it's good to have you with us on the show. Welcome. So this issue of electronic devices being handed over by the minister is quite puzzling, right? Mainly as per, of course, his testimony at the ad hoc committee, of course, where he did say there that he did say that the police had arrived and couldn't locate him at his residence, so they couldn't be collected at that particular time. But why then would the minister only turn over his gadgets now? It's been months since those particular developments took place.
Yes, good afternoon. I think the main difference now is that they do it in terms of the case that was lodged by General Mkhunasi. So this is done with the supporting evidence, the supporting documentation, a search warrant in order for them to go and go to his property. They gain access. Initially, they were prevented from getting access to his property, and then to collect these devices, hopefully with what they regard as evidence that's on that. So I think the important point here is that it's not just a normal course of going to the different persons who are supposedly implicated in these investigations, but it is very specifically because of the case that General Mkhunasi has taken to the police for investigation. And on the basis of that, they could do it now.
And that's where I'm coming next, Professor. I mean, let's further, of course, talk about the investigation looking into the suspended minister now. The police have remained pretty mum at this stage, saying there would be no further comment on this. The minister says he believes it is related to his disbandment letter. What are your views in regards to the scope of this investigation, actually?
Well, the investigation in itself, if we look at it from a broad perspective, is a very wide one in terms of the terms of reference that they've received, especially the Commission. In the case of the ad hoc committee of Parliament, it is much more narrow, but I think for this purpose, it's most possibly going to be used for the Madlanga Commission and not so much for Parliament because he already testified in Parliament. So this evidence that they will most possibly gather from these devices are going to be used by the Commission, as we have just watched how the evidence leaders are using the evidence that they have gathered over time in order to lead the evidence with those who are the persons who provide the evidence. The same is going to happen when Minister Mchunu will appear before the Madlanga Commission. And I think this, what we have seen now today, is going to form a very important component of that evidence that will be led when he appears before the Commission.
But further puzzling, Professor, is the fact that the investigation only came after the accusations. Shouldn't these principles work in reverse under normal circumstances? I mean, the public has long been also of the view that stemming from those allegations, the minister should have long been charged or even arrested, taken in the amount of time also that has passed on. Those devices could also long have been wiped of any incriminating information.
Yes, that is the risk of it. We've heard about that. It, for example, happened in the case of Kat McLaughlin, that those devices that they confiscated or took from him, that they believe they've lost a lot of evidence there. The same can apply to really any of the persons that have appeared already before the Commission or the ad hoc committee. But then our legal system is not so open that the police can simply arrive at someone's house and raid it and take whatever evidence they want to take there. There is a very specific legal requirements of how it should be done, especially if a person has not yet been charged. And in this case, Minister Mchunu hasn't been charged in court. And therefore, they cannot go to his premises in order to do it. So this is what the rule of law means, that these type of procedures must be followed. For many people, it becomes very cumbersome that it must be done so, but that's the protection all of us need to have in order not to have to be subject to actions by law enforcement and other persons which cannot be justified.
Professor, maybe a very quick one here. I mean, can the suspended minister be charged for disbanding the PKTT? If so, what would those particular charges be? And will it then be the ad hoc or the Madlanga Commission that has to lay the charges?
Well, it has been laid already by General Mkhonasi, and that is about defeating the ends of justice. And I think his main argument, I obviously haven't seen the documents, but the main argument will be that by dissolving the task team, the political killings task team, that was in itself a form of defeating the ends of justice. So that must be proven now. And I think this is why these processes are continuing. So we have actually three processes running concurrently. It's the commission, it's the parliamentary process, and it is this police investigation.
All right, Prof, thank you so much. As always, very insightful engagement there. There is Professor Dirk Kotze, is a political sciences lecturer at UNISA on, of course, that put on special leave Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu handing over his electronic devices to police early today.